If there's a racial divide in real life, it can also be in how life is depicted or imagined. Over the past several weeks, that divide has been most dramatic in the news out of Ferguson, Missouri. But the image of a community can also be shaped and put into play from the inside. Our guest hopes to do this October 18th with a Men of Color photo shoot in Roxbury, to be followed by a social media campaign. The movement's known as HoodFit, and we'd like to welcome the creator, Thaddeus. Thank you very much for being with us, Thaddeus.
Thank you very much, Chris.
First of all, talk about your own work with the camera, because by profession, you're not a photographer. You sort of came into this from the sideways, I guess.
Right, yeah. So I'm the Director of Public Safety at Mass Housing. But what that keeps me very busy, keeps me doing a lot of different things. And the main thing for me was to still be able to connect with my son. So my son and I actually took a camera course. He didn't enjoy it as much because he needed some of the instant gratification, but I really enjoyed it. It gave me a peace and a little bit more break, a little bit of a break from some of my daily life, 12 to 15 hours a day at work, being all over the state, dealing with public safety issues, working in the community, trying to make sure that the quality of life is sustained and that they have a safe and secure environment to live in.
Well, most people, when they go out, if they're walking, they're just trying to go from one place to another. But you're a person, at least occasionally, with a camera. And when you've got a camera and you've got that in your mind, how does that change the way you walk or what you see?
I'm a lot more observant, and I think that's has been a real blessing. Because I don't just walk down the street. I'm looking at colors, I'm looking at shapes, I'm looking at faces. I'm taking my time. I'm not speeding through. Being able to slow down my life has been a real blessing in a lot of different ways. And so when I'm looking about, I can see that flower that everybody's walked past. I can see that shape that's been folded just by the shade and the way that the sun actually hits a building, or the light has hit something to create a particular image that most people wouldn't necessarily see.
Now, October 18th, you're doing a shoot at Humboldt Ave and Seaver Street, right?
Humboldt Ave and Seaver.
Well, why that location?
So, as Director of Public Safety, I found, again, I'm extremely addressing crime and violence within the community. And Humboldt Ave has this image that people see and the media portrays that I don't see. And I see Humboldt Ave as a beautiful place. If you stand on the top of Humboldt Ave and Seaver Street, you see the Prudential, you see the beauty of Roxbury, you see the beauty of the city, and it's just one beautiful street to look down.
And this is an area, it's sometimes it's referred to as the H block area with those other streets. So I guess most of the time people, especially outside the neighborhood, they only hear about this when something really bad has happened.
I think so. I think that's the image that has been portrayed to be between H block and a lot of the other streets. But I will tell you, just last 2 weeks ago, as part of HoodFit, we actually did the first 5K through Roxbury in the last 30 years. I don't believe it's been a 5K or run through there. And the main road was Humboldt. And when a lot of people from outside of the community came through, they couldn't visualize the beauty of Humboldt, the Victorian homes, the parks. When we went down Dale Street, Malcolm X home, the museum, the African American Museum that's there. They just couldn't imagine it. And I think it's when you take the time to go through and not be afraid of a community and take the time to see what's there, that you can find real value.
Now, explain the connection between the photo shoot and HoodFit, because HoodFit is a series of events and activities.
So HoodFit was started when I realized, because with all my work, I'm always eating fast food, other things. I actually have ballooned up to 325 pounds, which for me I could carry, but it's still very difficult. And what I realized is that I needed to really look at mind, body, and soul. And so I was lifting weights, I was doing other things, but I wasn't dropping any weight. So a lot of it came to addressing some of the stress and some of the trigger points that I had through fitness, but also being able to go and actually figure out how to release some of those particular things. So we are doing running, we're doing different spinning, we've connected with other groups, we're connected with mind, but we're also looking at body and spirit. And to me, the imagery that we see has a lot to do with how fit we are as individuals. Because when we talk about Ferguson the last few weeks, it was a lot of healing going on in Ferguson, but you don't see any of those images. You see the images themselves of the riots and some of the other components that were there that are negative. When you look at Ray Rice, when you look at some of the NFL images, when you look at a lot of these other images of men of color, they're all negative. And I just felt like it was time to change that. And when I ran the 5K through Roxbury, and when I was running down Humboldt, in my mind it was, what if we had 500 men of color running down Humboldt? What image would that portray, and how would that change some of the perceptions that people have from outside about the community? So I might not be able to get 500 men that come out and run Humboldt and do a 5K, but I think I can get 500 men to come out and talk about the positive aspects of what they're doing in the community.
Well, what's involved in the running here? Because this is not just about dashing down the street and burning calories. You're talking about getting people together.
Right. So what we call it, we don't call it a real 5K. We call it a embrace yourself run and walk through Roxbury. So it's really what we try to focus on. We have some exercise before the event, and that really focuses on hugging yourself and taking some time to actually connect with yourself. And the run for us is about releasing. And so when we run, we actually try to release whatever stress and whatever issue we're dealing with the most at that particular time, to release it and really just concentrate on our breath, concentrate on our heartbeat, and understand that through our struggles, we grow stronger.
So how do you picture this? You get a bunch of men in one place, and anything beyond this, or are you still sort of sifting the? So
we're hoping to do it. I'm hoping to bring several other photographers of color out to shoot the same day, because there'll be a lot of embracing. There'll be people that haven't seen each other for years. It'll be fathers out there with their sons. It'll be a lot of different issues. So what we're hoping to do is to have all 250 to 500 men occupy all of Humboldt and do one photo shoot to show the strength of our united front in itself. But also what we're hoping to do is have videographers out there to take 30-second to 1-second clips of, I'm Thaddeus Miles, I live in Roxbury, and here's what I'm doing positive to impact my community. And so that's going to be the beginning of our social media campaign, because what we want to do is every 3 days to release that particular video, and every 3 days throughout the next few months to release a video of a man of color saying positively what they're doing, and hoping that all 500 men, hopefully if we get 500, will actually tweet and put that on Facebook to get that out, so that we actually can combat some of the issues and some of the images that we see. And lastly, we hope to, at the end of the day, sometime in the spring, to have an exhibit that actually shows some of the images that we were able to produce, but we're also going to ask the community to send in images of men of color doing positive things in the community, so that we can select from those particular images.
Photos of the visible men, and if people want to find out more and take part, is there a way they can do that?
Yes, they can just go to HoodFit.org, HoodFit.com.
Thank you very much for being with us from HoodFit. Thaddeus Miles. Up ahead, sports with Pat Flaherty.